Alright guys, well welcome back to Jurassic Peck Farms. Today I'm going to be showing you how I'm repairing my chicken coop. This won't be the full repair, I'm going to have to do some of it in the winter, but for now, this is what I can do. This is the backside of my chicken coop area. So it's come to my attention that there are bigger holes in the fence than I thought were happening, and I've been trying to figure out a way to keep all of the chickens in the run. Now they are pretty safe. Like this whole area is the entirety of the back of my property has literally chain link fence in it, so that's really safe. There are a few gaps that they could crawl under, but they'd really have to want to get under them, and there's really no reason for them to. But the actual run itself is just some chicken wire that I had to put up, and I kind of had to do this last minute, and then there is a net over, which you can't really see here, but my hand is caught in it. I installed, with the help of my dad, like a cable system that helps keep the net up with some piping. It actually looks really good. I will need to do some repairs this winter, but in the meantime, I'm just trying to make it a little more functionable for right now, just in case anybody needs to watch the farm, or if I'm gone for the day, you know, sometimes I'll come back and there's a chicken out, and I'm kind of like, what are you doing out? So I did some inspecting of the net. There are a few little holes in the actual mesh itself, like the chicken wire, which I know isn't fully safe, but like I said, this whole thing is enclosed. The only thing that I'm struggling with is there are some resident skunks that took up over the summer, and they sometimes will crawl under the net. Now they leave my chickens alone for the most part, but just in case they do want to get in and eat the eggs. So that being said, I am just securing up the netting around it. I already did some right in front of the duck run. I'll show that part in a video in a second, but this is what I'm doing. I have a bunch of these landscape staples. So I'm just basically attaching them and hammering them into the ground as best I can. Some of the soil is really soft right around the chicken area. I usually just have some nice wood pieces, and it's kind of buried underneath, like some leftover apple tree logs that I lined it all around with. It has worked, but as time has gone on, it's been like this for a couple years now. They're finding holes in the net. Skunks and raccoons and stuff are digging under it because they know that the chickens have eggs, and sometimes there's like leftover scraps of food in there that they don't eat. Normally it's fine, but they're creating bigger and bigger holes in the actual chicken wire underneath it where they're like digging, and I've done a lot to predator proof that piece. Like I have like bricks so they can't dig under, or just too much stuff where they really have to work really hard to do it, and they're just a little bit lazy, if I'm being honest. My neighborhood has plenty of cat food or dog food or just other things that they can eat, even like fruits falling off trees, so they don't necessarily always go for the eggs. But in the evening, if I don't get home in time from work, especially now that it's getting darker earlier here, and like even in the winter it'll get dark at like 4:15 here, like in the depths of winter, and it doesn't get light until like 8 o'clock. So I know some of you might not deal with that kind of crazy like dark nighttime winterish, but here in the Pacific Northwest that is like the norm. But in the summer it gets light at like 5 a.m. and it doesn't get dark till close to like 10 sometimes in the height of summer. So like we get both worlds. I'm gonna be taking these landscape stakes. I'm just gonna be hammering them into the ground. This might not be the permanent solution, but I'm gonna try this for now because my bantam chickens and a couple of my smaller big chickens who just like to create mischief, Gizmo and Miss Frizzle, they just love to get out from underneath the net anytime they can and go wandering into the yard. Surprisingly, they leave my garden alone if they make it that far. They're always trying to figure out how to get back in. And while sometimes they can, a lot of times they can't. So I just want to minimize that risk. I don't want to lose any chickens because I didn't do my part on the outdoor of the run. So here we go. You're going to watch me just staple some of these in. Okay, so as you can see, like most of the time these branches and stuff will stay planted, and I have things like those bricks that I just found extra and for free. They'll hold stuff down, but stuff like this now is becoming more common where it's not against the ground. And this was one of my janky fix rigs this morning just so I didn't lose anybody else before I could get the staples. But normally they just escape into the duck run, and the duck run has been closed recently because, well, the ducks are still learning their house and stuff. They escape through a tiny little hole between the duck run and the chicken run, and they're enclosed in the duck run and they can get back and forth. Specifically, my tiny little bantams will do this. I have one silky. My buff silky will actually sneak through, and then actually my I have 2 bantam Brahmas, and they will sneak through as well. But this is where some of the predators have been getting in and out, just under this little area right here. They don't need much space, and while they leave the chickens alone, they do go for their eggs, and honestly, the eggs are not for them. So we're going to be doing some repairs, and I'm just going to be checking like the netting for any sort of like gaps that might happen that like sometimes just occur. I am going to try to replace the chicken wire this winter. As you can see, this old apple tree that I actually cut back to like just that fork right there has grown back this year, and it's going through the net. So that is going to be one of the repairs I do, but I do have to wait for winter because it's just easier to prune that tree when it goes dormant, and I might be just taking that tree out, to be perfectly honest. So the blackberries, like I said, they're coming in crazy. Once again, a lot of that's going to have to be taken care of in the winter time. I will be cutting some of this back. But yeah, so just I'm going to go stakes all along the back here, all along this area. And then anywhere that needs a little extra, I do have some leftover bricks where I can weigh it down. And I will be installing an electric fence that will go all the way back over there and around the duck run, because it's hard to tell because this area is so overgrown, but the back of the duck run goes around, and then there's the corner T-post, the back corner of the duck run, and it goes right up front. I have some wire, and I also have a fence, and I'm mainly just doing that for when I'm gone. If anybody needs to watch the farm, I know that the ducks, who don't always put themselves away at night, will be protected from any predators that are coming in. So I'm literally just going to be hammering these in to the ground. So you can actually see here there is a wood branch like that that's buried underneath all the sawdust that I've been doing. It's just debris. A lot of this area too is also actually buried with these type of logs, are buried over the wire, so there's actually not a lot of give or things underneath it. Okay, so this is from the inside. I literally quick just zip tied this so that it would help keep it weighted down, but you can see there is a good size hole where something just chewed through, so I'm gonna leave that zip tied. Not that it did anything, but it doesn't hurt to just reinforce it a little bit. So there is a see, it's where the soil is really torn up because the chickens will dig through it frequently. So I will most likely be adding some sort of weight over here just to keep it down until I can get the fence in. Yeah, that actually hit this cement post for that. I knew this area was always going to be the weakest link when I did this project, but it's held up for 2 years. So now it's just time to see, like, and there's even like yeah, there's a wood piece there, which is funny because that's what I originally buried. Ouch. This is buried underneath that. So the likelihood that they can dig is not very likely, but we're still gonna try. So like this is pretty big. The fence is underneath this big log right here. but I'm still just gonna tie it down just in case. See, look at that. Stop. Yes, can I help you? Okay. Well, if you had a second set of hands, I'd let you have a hammer. All right, so here's a really good example of a very small hole right there. Now, I do have some farm cats, and honestly, I didn't mind that they were crawling in and out through here because they did keep mice out, rats out, all that good stuff. But as the skunks at this point are now also coming in, it is time to remove the privilege. You want to help? So this little buff silky right here is looking for the hole in the gate that I just, or the hole in the fence that I just filled up. She is one of the ones that always will sneak through one of those tiny little holes there. And actually, that buff Brahma that's next to her is also a culprit. Her and her twin sister. She's looking. She's actually very smart. Both of them are really smart. If they see me coming to go put them back, they actually crawl right back under the fence. So they know they're not supposed to be there. All right, guys, well, that's pretty much it. That's the minimum repair I'm doing now. I am going to install some electric wire, but I really want to see if that's going to keep the skunks from digging around right now. I'm going to let it rest a couple days, and then I'm going to install the wire just to make sure. I just kind of want to see what they're working around, and if they got any other workarounds I just can't see. I do know that they can get in underneath the door on the chicken run, and I have some bricks to kind of lay up underneath there. I just need to install them, and then they have a couple areas of gaps in the door where they can actually get through on the like main chicken gate run. So like so on that gate, like right in the corner there, they can actually sneak through the little teeny corner right there. And you'll notice I actually have a brick in the other one that's like way over on the other side near the door. There's a tile that I found and like a brick. So they haven't really been able to get in that way, but they can get out because they'll just go up and underneath. But for right now, I'm gonna let that ride with the fencing the way I just did it. I just want to see if they're smart enough to figure out another way in, because they definitely are. If they want those eggs, they're gonna be coming in. But that's all I'm gonna do today. I will film another video for when I'm installing all the electric netting to kind of give you some ideas of what that might work, because this is my first time gonna be using that. In the meantime, hopefully this will work for now. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time.